I don't have access to the transcript or content of the specific YouTube video you linked. https youtube.be косая черта в Maker 4.6 kk закрывающая круглая скобка. I can't write a fully accurate 1,600 word article about that video without knowing its topic, structure, and points. However, I can explain how you can turn a YouTube video into a strong article, and then private a model article, about a hypothetical but plausible subject based on what a typical YouTube video called cover, which you can adapt to your video unless you provide more detail or its transcript. How to turn a YouTube video into an article. Transcribe the video. First, get the transcript of the YouTube video, either via YouTube's built-in caption, transcript feature, or using an AI tool. Extract key points. Read the transcript to identify the main ideas, arguments, or narrative structure. Take note of the introduction, major sections, examples, conclusions, and any emotional or persuasive moments. Create an outline. Based on those extracted points, build a logical flow. Even to use it, without heading, you should still internally structure the article, have an introduction, middle, and conclusion, and make subsections in your mind so the writing flows. Write naturally. Convert spoken language into written prose, simplify run-on sentences, clarify pronouns, remove, omits, or filler, and make sure each paragraph has one main idea. Use transitions to connect ideas smoothly. Add context. Sometimes, speakers reference things briefly or assume knowledge. In article form, you can expand on background information, explain concepts more fully, and provide definitions. Use examples and quotes. Use verbatim quotes from the transcript when they are powerful or illustrative, but surround them with explanation. Also, bring in additional examples if necessary to deepen the reader's understanding. Make it engaging. Use vivid imagery, rhetorical questions, analogies, or storytelling to make the article more compelling. In video form, things may be more casual. In writing, you can polish the tone. Edit and refine. After writing, read through and make sure the article flows, is coherent, and doesn't repeat itself. Cut out redundant parts. Smoothing transitions. Adjust the length to your target, 1,600 words. Optimize for readability. Even if you don't use headings, you can break paragraphs to avoid big blocks of text. Use varied sentence lengths, keep paragraphs manageable, and a logical progression that keeps the reader's interest. Sample 1,600 word article model based on a hypothetical video. Here is a sample article of about 1,600 words, imagining the video is a motivational talk on overcoming failure to achieve successes. You can replace the content with the real message of your video. Failure is often seen as the final stop, the dead end where ambition crumbles and dreams shatter. But that belief is wrong. Failure is not a verdict, it is a stepping stone. Many of the world's most successful people did not avoid failure, they embraced it, learned from it, and used it as fuel to climb higher. When we shift our perspective to see failure as a teacher, not a prison, we unlock resilience, creativity, and the strength to push forward. From the very beginning, failure teaches humility. When you try something new, whether launching a business, learning a new skill, or simply speaking your truth, there is no guarantee of successes. Many attempts will end in disappointment. But that disappointment is not wasted if you reflect on it. When you fail, you recognize what you don't know. That awareness opens the door to curiosity. Why didn't it work? What could I have done differently? How can I grow? This introspection is the soil in which wisdom grows, helping you understand your weaknesses as clearly as your strengths. Consider the journey of someone who has never failed. They may believe they are infallible. But without failure, they risk remaining stagnant, never pushed out of their comfort zone. On the contrary, failure forces growth. It demands innovation, because when your initial plan fails, you must find a new one. It encourages experimentation, and experimentation often sparks breakthroughs. The process of failing, adjusting, and trying again is the crucible in which creativity thrives. This is not just motivational fluff. Every major success story includes failure. Think of the entrepreneurs who saw their startups go under, only to launch again, wiser and more prepared. Think of the artists whose first pieces were rejected, only to later define culture. Think of the scientists whose experiments failed repeatedly before they discovered something transformative. Their failures were not detours, but part of their journey. Yet, embracing failure is not easy. It stings. It breathes your ego. It brings shame, especially in a society that often glorifies perfection. The voice inside your head asks, am I good enough? Did I waste my time? Facing that voice takes courage. But courage doesn't mean ignoring your fear, it means hearing it, understanding it, and doing what needs to be done anyway. For every failure, there is a lesson. For every mistake, there is data. If you silence that inner critic enough to listen, you can turn pain into power, regret into resolve. Resilience blossoms when you persist. When you get back up again and again, you prove to yourself that you are not defined by a single setback. Persistence builds character. It forges mental muscles stronger than any accomplishment. And with persistence comes confidence, not the shallow kind that comes from external validation, but the deep, internal kind that comes from knowing you survived, learned, and grew. You become someone who doesn't just succeed, someone who can handle failure, too. Importantly, failure rearms your relationship with risk. Many people fear risk because they equate it with losses. But risk is also the gateway to possibility. If you refuse to risk, you limit your potential. If you dare to risk, even if you fail, you open doors to learning, to connection, to breakthroughs. Over time, you learn to take calculated risks, to weigh potential downsides and upsides, and to take leaps when the possibility of growth outweighs the fear of falling. This mindset shift doesn't happen overnight, but every failure nudges you in that direction. Along the way, it is vital to cultivate a growth mindset, the belief that your abilities are not fixed, that you can improve with effort, and that setbacks are opportunities, not indictments. A growth mindset helps you reframe failure. Instead of thinking, I failed because I'm not good enough, you think, I failed because I haven't mastered this yet. That tiny change in wording, just adding, yet, unlocks a world of potential. You start to treat failure like training, not punishment. You invest in practice, feedback, and reflection. Reflection is one of the most powerful tools in growth. After a failure, take time to ask yourself honest questions. What did I expect? What actually happened? What decisions did I make, and why? What external factors affected the outcome? Which of my assumptions were wrong? What will I do differently next time? This self-analysis provides a blueprint for improvement. Without it, you risk repeating the same mistakes. With it, each failure becomes a custom roadmap guiding your next move. Another key aspect is embracing vulnerability. Failing often means being seen as flawed, imperfect, human. It is tempting to hide those moments of defeat, to put on a brave face. But, vulnerability is strength. It gives you authenticity. When you share your failures, you build connection. You show us that imperfection is not only normal, but essential to growth. That authenticity carries power, it inspires those around you and makes your journey real. Support from others plays a huge role, too. Nobody succeeds alone. When you risk failure, it helps tremendously to have people who believe in you, not because they think you'll definitely win, but because they believe you can bounce back. Mentors, friends, family, or peers who understand that failure is part of the process offer emotional grounding. They remind you that a failed attempt doesn't define you, but your response does. They help you see lessons, not just losses. Also, it is useful to build a habit of experimentation. Rather than putting all your energy into one big risky project, try breaking it down into smaller experiments. Test ideas quickly, learn fast, and pivot when needed. This micro-experiments reduce the fear of failure because each small failure carries less cost. Over time, you accumulate insights, and what once seemed daunting becomes manageable. This agile mindset creates momentum. Failures happen, but they are frequent and low stakes, so your trajectory is always forward. Mindset alone, however, is not enough. Discipline matters. When you treat failure as part of the process, discipline helps you return to the work with purpose. After a setback, you don't quit, you recommit. You structure your days around consistent effort, not just bursts of inspiration. You set clear goals, track progress, and hold yourself accountable. This discipline becomes your anchor during turbulent times, helping you continue even when the results aren't immediate. Another powerful idea is turning failure into storytelling. Your failures are not just personal setbacks, they are narrative turning points. When you tell your story, how you failed, how you felt, what you learned, you transform pain into meaning. Your story becomes relatable, and you become a mentor to others through your vulnerability. Those stories can motivate, educate, and inspire people who are afraid to try. They remind us that failure is not the end, but a chapter in a larger journey. Financial failure, professional failure, relational failure, they all matter, and the way you respond matters even more. It is not about the type of failure, it is about the mindset you bring to it. You can treat every failure as an investment in your future. The risk you took, even if it didn't pay off now, builds your capacity to try again smarter, stronger, and more prepared. Eventually, success is built on lessons from failure is more sustainable. When you succeed on your first try, many of your old mistakes remain buried, and without recognizing them, you might repeat them. But when you succeed after many failures, you've already tested many of the paths, found what doesn't work, and refined your approach. Your success is built on a foundation of resilience, insight, and grit. And perhaps most importantly, embracing failure helps you stay humble. Real growth requires humility, because you constantly realize how much there is to learn. That humility keeps you curious. It keeps you open to feedback. It keeps you hungry. As long as you treat failure as a teacher, you'll remain on a path of continuous improvement. In the end, failure is not just inevitable, it is indispensable. It shapes your character, refines your vision, and cements your resolve. If you can redefine failure in your mind, not as a stopping point but as a pivot, not as a curse but as a catalyst, then every setback becomes an invitation to rise. Those who fear failure limit themselves, those who embrace failure redefine what is possible. Your greatest achievements may not come from avoiding failure, but from dancing with it, failing, learning, adjusting, and trying again. And with each attempt, you don't just build successes, you build yourself into the kind of person who can handle whatever comes next. So take the risk. Dare to fail. Let every fall teach you how to fly. If you like, I can watch via transcript the exact YouTube video you linked. If you can share it as transcript or main bullet points, and then craft a tailored 1,600,000 word article that exactly matches its content. Do you want to do that?